Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shining Hawk Healing. I'm Tony, and I'm so excited to introduce our guest for this week. Her name is Jennifer Perez Solar, and she's a channel, she is a medium, and she works with color and light therapy for healing. So, oh my gosh, let's get to it. Let's get moving. Let's go. So welcome. I came upon you. You just came up in my feed one day, and I was like, wow, who is this? I've never seen her before. And I went to your channel and I was like, wow, you have so much. Can you just tell everyone your specialty and what it is that you do?
Sure. So it's all unfolding for me still. That's what I love about this. So I guess I really got started with connecting in a new way to the earth, to the cosmos, energetically, all of this. I started really becoming more connected in a new way. I would say probably about 15 years ago. Actually 20. My husband passed away of a rare cancer 20 years ago. And left me with an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Oh my.
And and this came up yesterday, so I knew I was going to give you part of my personal story. Prior to his death, it was a cancer that was very aggressive. And so probably I would say months before his death, he looked at me and said, we're just watching TV. And he looked at me and said, if I can come back in any way, I will. And I said, okay. I was still connected to him staying. I wasn't really thinking he was going to be exiting.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, we don't have to talk about that. And he said, no, I want to make sure you know this because it's really, really important for me to tell you this. Now, we had been raised Catholic. We were raised, in a very regimented kind of way, where we didn't really think about what happens. You just knew there was heaven. And if you're good, you go there, that kind of thing. So there wasn't any real push, I think, for us to be spiritually connected that way. So when he said it, it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, I got an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I'm not really even thinking about you leaving, much less coming back. So we kind of kept that conversation very open because he kept insisting on talking about it. And so,
like, no.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A month passed and he said, do you remember when we were talking about that? I just want to make sure you understand what I said was that I'm going to connect with you. I'm going to come back. There are ways and I'm going to figure them out.
Wow.
And I said, okay, once again. And went about my business. Took the kids to school, did whatever. And I was walking in that robot body that you walk in when you're just sealed off from your abilities. You're sealed off from what you are capable of. And then when he passed, that was the day. I felt the room filled with his presence. I saw him and knew he wasn't there. I knew he was in the room with me. I felt the presence of him, and that never left me. It's been 20 years. And so I've written recently about 4 chapters in 4 different books about these experiences because he did come back. He came back with signs. He came back with information. And then little by little, it started getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And you know how we talk about as spiritual people, we talk about having our gatekeepers. Mm-hmm. And every spiritual teacher I talked to and every mentor I had said, well, it can't be a past loved one. It has to be like an archangel, or it has to be something like a master. And I'm like, well, I think my master was my husband who passed. And he was never an ex, my husband who passed. And they were like, okay, well, that's not the way it works. It's not a past loved one. And I'm like, yes, but I don't think you understand. He's the one that comes in whenever I'm meditating. He's the one that when I feel like I need some sort of protection from the energies, he's the one that's there with me, assisting me through it. So I think his feeling of needing to let me know this when he was living on this physical plane was more than just his idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was more of his preparation. It was more of a connection. It took me to, and I'm starting a channel, so forgive me for looking off to the side.
No worries. Go for
Someone
it.
told me on my YouTube channel, you say a lot and you look off to the side. And I'm like, yes, that's because
I do that too.
I'm channeling. So it's kind of how it worked. And so I started to realize that a lot of information that was coming in for me was bigger than I could understand. So I started to do a lot of automatic writing. So I have pages and pages and pages of automatic writing that talks about the lab Earth and all of these things that I don't even understand. I was writing about Lemurians before I knew what Lemurians were. And then I started looking it up and I'm like, oh, I could Google this stuff. So there's other people feeling the same thing. And then it dawned on me, it's all in the ethers. We're all experiencing it. We all understand it. It's energy. It's not, I would say it's a special gift. But it's more than that, because it's allowing yourself to be open enough to channel that information. And the more I started to understand that, the more I started to understand that's what he was talking about. That's why he was telling me I can connect with you.
Do you think that at the time that I know that teachers and said, oh no, you must have an angel, or maybe he was an angel. Maybe he had the gift. Maybe he had a connection that he didn't even know he had at the time, right? So that allowed him to be a channel and an open channel for you. So that's what it sounds like, but
Yes.
How do you?
So I got confirmation on that many times through the last few years, with different things that have come up. And it, to me, again, it's a matter of, we all have these gifts. We all are able to tap in. I've met people and had people comment, again, on my channel about, this is just, you don't just sit down and it happens. Well, no, maybe not for some, but there are ways that you can open yourself up to the idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happened with him is that he was so close to that, to the veil. We talk about that. So walking with one foot here and one foot there, that he was able to see things and experience things, whether it was through dreams or visions that he was having, or whatever, people that were coming to him, giving him information. I say people, beings, people, whatever they are, spirit, coming to him, giving him information and letting me know that he was going to do this with me. Mm-hmm. So I feel very much that he is a spiritual teacher for me. I feel very much that when I'm in desperate need of trying to figure out where my kid is, what's going on, what's happening, I get information. And I feel like he's there walking with them also. So to say, it sounds a little hokey, like this romance never went away. But
he's absolutely your soulmate.
He is. And I feel like we walked in this before and we're going to walk in this again.
That's awesome.
I also feel, and this is what Spirit's reminding me of, is that we do work. Mm-hmm. I don't even like to refer to it that way, but that's the way it's coming in. For whatever reason, they're giving me that word. We do work with guides and with spirit and with those teachers and mentors that have passed before us, because we're supposed to bring that to others. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing that I think that we miss. We don't really connect with the fact that when I go to sleep at night, sometimes I call it light school, because I'm really learning something at the time that I'm sleeping. And then I wake up in the morning and all of a sudden I have a protocol. to use for someone or whatever, but I'm being fed that information, and we have to stay open to the fact that we are being fed information.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So I think that it comes in different ways, but I know that for me, that's where it all began. And through that process, I started really studying.
And now you're a teacher. Now you're a coach.
Yeah, that's the other word. So work is not my favorite word, but coach isn't either. I like to refer to myself as like an intuitive guide or a mentor or something. And I don't even like mentor, even sounds like, you're here and I'm here.
Yeah.
Because
we're all in this together.
Everything we do is together. Everything's in the collective energy. Even what we're doing right now is in the collective energy. So my partner and I both feel, I say partner, she's my business partner. She lives in Hawaii, and we feel very strongly about when we teach any type of virtual class or retreat or anything that we've done, the work that we've done has always been a collaboration with the people who participate. Like I don't refer to people in our groups as students. I don't refer to myself as teaching or the teacher, because I'm gaining from them just like they're gaining from me. We're
so programmed for that paradigm, right? We're so programmed for teacher and student, and I'm learning from you. So you must be my teacher, my mentor. And, and we never really concentrate on the fact that it's a two-way street. Well, you do, but not all of us do.
Well, I try to. I mean, I say try. I don't even like using the word try either, because it is, you either do or you don't. But I feel like that sometimes people put you in that light. They see you in that light because of their own paradigms. And when it happens, I really try to remind that person, thank you. I learned something from you today. Thank you. You're a part of this collective.
Yes. I say that to every time I have a client. I really do. And I mean it, because I am grateful, because that was absolutely a message for me as well. Because any message that comes through, it's for the collective. Even though we feel individual, we feel like we're autonomous, but we're not. We are so connected, so in tune to each other without even realizing it. And that part of the great forgetting. When we are born, when we come to the planet, we forget that we have this source energy that we are all a part of. And if so, why? Why do we forget that?
Well, and that's a very good question. So this is coming in a channeled message, but it's also part of my own personal experience. So I'm going to merge the two. I do this a lot. The way Spirit gives me messages is through example. So I'm going to say that the answer to that is what we believe and how we believe. One of the things that when I studied Samasati color light, which is it's a protocol. It's different protocols, and it's how you apply light to your body. The mystic, who is a friend and teacher, who worked with me through the learning of this study, he told me once that when the Sufis, when they would have their children, they would take these children and put a dab of frankincense behind their ear and whisper, "Remember who you are." Because when you enter this world, you have all of the answers. And that's why it says the answer is what you believe. Because when you enter this world, you have all of the answers. when he said that to me, it occurred to me, and this is the experience part, is that I've always worked with infants. I'm an infant toddler specialist. And now I understand the reason why I have is because I gain as much knowledge from them as they are going to gain from me in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing that we, as parents or as adults, we don't give enough emphasis. I want to say we don't put enough emphasis on the entering of that life. And knowing that their cries are communication, knowing that their stare and their gaze is information for you. So we don't have to have language in order to understand the information. And when it boils down to the very basic part about it, it's something that I'm very, very big on. It's the love that's there. So we have that for each other. We have that for humanity. But we get lost as we grow and are told that people aren't truthful. People tell us things that aren't accurate. We're told that, you know, people say one thing and do another. They tell you, I love you, and then they spank you, whatever it is, you know? So there's a lot of conflicting information as we're growing up. And so we tend to put up our own barriers so that we don't feel the harm or look at these things that don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And as a teacher and of small children and someone who's worked with a lot of infants, I feel like I can communicate with them almost better than I can with a person of our age.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really that basic.
And we have forgotten so much. About who we are. By the time we're, 20 years old, we are firmly ensconced in the world.
Yes.
We're, a lot of us, except for the people who are very, very sensitive,
Right.
So
right.
I feel it feels like, why do we have to forget? Do we have to forget who we are? I mean,
I think the beauty of that too is that as we age, we have the ability to remember. So as we're going through this process, when you're walking, like I said, in my little robot suit as a mom, going to soccer practice or cheerleading practice or doing whatever, you're so busy with the everyday things that I never sat really and spent time in meditation.
You didn't have time.
The parents that I talk to and I say, oh, have a meditation room in your house. Go there with your child. So a 2-year-old's not going to meditate for a half hour, but if you can spend a couple minutes with that child on your lap in quiet, they understand. And they can probably give you more information than you ever expect them to.
Is it something that we're told when we are younger that life is hard, that life is pain, that life, so it rubs up, well, actually it collides with the beliefs and the understandings that we have when we're born, right? When we come out, like you said, I love you, and then I'll spank you.
Yeah.
It's all about, it feels like we have all of these sayings about life is, whatever the person who has gone through something is, and they've decided, they make the declaration that life is pain. So then they pass that on to all of their children, and so on and so on and so on. And so then it becomes a reality that life is pain. How do we get out of that?
That's very poignant what you just said, because we do pass that on from generation to generation. Another area of study for me was the Akashic, and understanding that lineage. It comes from here, but my grandmother did it, but my grandmother's grandmother did it. And then, oh, wait, what about another lifetime? So those things, I don't try to get too caught up in that when I am dealing with or talking with a person or a client. because I feel like they can own it. So it's kind of like, it's very like when a child is in school and they have trouble writing, and then they go, oh, they have dyslexia. And then from that point on, the child doesn't want to pick up a pencil.
Because they've been labeled.
Because they've got dyslexia. They have a
Yeah.
label. And then they use that all 30 years of their life. I know someone like that. So then, at that time, you're like, okay, is that ever going to be are we ever going to just go past that? And it's the same thing that happens when you tell someone, I see you in another life, because it happens. I see this, I pull them from the Akashic all the time. And so I'll see things about people, but I try to put it into some mainstream words. So I try to bring in the information I'm channeling. And then when it comes out, they always go, and then I'm like, okay, let's talk about this.
Wait a minute. Oh, hold up. Don't get upset.
Just because somebody stabbed you in the neck in another lifetime, that's not why you got a problem with your throat.
Okay.
I'm putting a little humor in here, but that's the way my guides work. But the thing is that, yes, we can stop it here. It can stop with me. And it can go forward in a different light. I can meet that resistance. We talk about this a lot in our classes that we do. I can meet with this resistance and walk through it. I can meet with this resistance or recognize it and say, what if I look at it in a whole different way? What if I turn that around and look at it in a completely different way?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what we have trouble with, because we're not programmed to change things.
Right. And
we're programmed to walk around things and get around things.
It's
right?
not there. There's nothing there. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's go the other way. Turn right.
That's it. No, you have to go through it. No. I want to go around. Can I go under? Can I go over?
Yeah. Let me see. How high can I jump? Yeah. We don't like to face those things that we consider fears.
Right. So that's
or
the resistance.
Uncomfortability. Yeah.
That's the resistance,
That's
is that the fear of pain. And
Yeah.
you work through that. You work with color a lot.
Yeah. So color comes in a lot.
Okay.
When we work together. Color comes in a lot. And the reason why color comes in is because, well, that's the way I've always dreamt. I've always dreamt in teal.
In teal.
The color teal.
That's very specific.
Yes. Sometimes the whole dream is in teal. Sometimes the dream is in color, but it's very rarely is it like a black and white movie.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't happen to me. And so spirit is saying the reason why they bring the color in is because it's a vibration and a frequency that I need to be aware of.
So where the wearing of color brings in a certain vibration.
Yes, absolutely. So, that a lot of people do color therapy, and a lot of people do, even psychologists use color a lot when they're working with children too, to see what their mindset is. Mm-hmm. Like, if a child is doing a lot with red, they go, high energy kid.
Right.
If the child leans towards the blues, they're probably more calm, sedate kind of personality. Right. So those are like, I always had an aversion to red. I did not like, I'm wearing kind of a reddish color now, but I always had an aversion to red. And I think it was too harsh for me. It was like too much. So it's simple things like that. Some people see yellow and they see solar plexus. I'm just going to give you a couple examples. They see solar plexus. They see a new day. People think of the sun, a brand new day. When I see yellow, I think clarity.
Oh, wow.
I think cleansing.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I see yellow in a person's body or on a person or around a person, and that's the way they give it to me, I know that there's a need for some kind of detox or some kind of clearing out, or either that or gaining more clarity on a situation.
That's amazing. I love that.
So color has been a way that they've brought it in for me for a long time. In high school, I was fascinated with the color wheel. Don't know why.
Did you do any artistic work with that?
I did. And at one point, I even took some painting classes and, but then my little sister came along and she was like a phenomenal artist. So I was like, oh, she's the artist, not me,
So you gave it up?
So I just put it to the side. And every now and then she goes, let's do something creative. And she's like, you're great at this. I'm like, just never really put emphasis on it because I figured she was the artist.
So there could only be one artist in your family?
I guess. Not anymore. Now she laughs at me when I do my diamond art.
Oh, okay.
The little, gems that you put on the little pattern.
That's great. So
and I'm like very grounding for me. I don't know why.
You found your niche.
Yeah, that's my niche.
That's great.
But it's something that, color is something that is an easy way to communicate with people. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes you don't think of color as part of your communication or your language, but it really is, because some people like bright, bold colors. Some people like them very muted. Some people like sparkly things. Some people are, I don't want anything sparkly, so just depending on what feels good for you, you can start to understand a person's, I want to say, characteristics and personality.
Yeah. It was for me, for a long time, when I would read something, a script or a book or whatever, I would see it in colors. It would come out, it would come to me in colors. I would go, wow, these are great colors that you're writing here. People would not understand what I was talking about. But now I understand. I didn't even understand it, but now I understand it, that it was the vibration and the frequency. The frequency.
And so there's a lot of studies on this, of course. It's not something that, I have created or anything. And spirit, of course, brings this into me because of my studies in color light. So color light is a combination of color with light that you place on your body. And there are protocols that you use for sinus, for, stomach issues, for just about everything. I mean, you can do, people are doing facials now with light, that red light therapy and all that. And red light just stimulates. That's all it does. It's just stimulating the surface and bringing, a little bit of rosiness to your face. And then you think, oh my gosh, I look gorgeous. So it's just red light. Yeah, it's red light. It's very easy. Blue light calms things down.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of effect. If you have rosacea or lots of red, you put blue light on your face, it calms it down. But our bodies are so in touch with light. Mm-hmm. We know this now. We're all talking about it. The beauty of it is that when you put it together with color, it has a fabulous effect on your body, your health, your emotional, because light works in all your energetic fields. So it goes up, out, all around. Okay. So it's actually working in your body, your physical body, your emotional body, your energetic body, your ethereal body, your, all the realms. And it takes that to another level. So this is what Spirit's giving me now. It takes it to another level and it activates the things in your body that need activation, and it calms the things in your body that need calm. So for instance, if you're having some sort of, and I'm not a medical professional, so I want to make that disclaimer. This is not a medical
purposes only.
Yeah. Entertainment. But the thing that's beautiful about this is that anybody can do it. So you can learn it for self-care. You can learn it for your own body. When you bring this light into your body, it's not like you're taking a scalpel and trying to, take something out of your body. But at the same time, you are applying light in the areas that create balance, not only for your chakras, but you're using meridian points, which, that's old Chinese medicine. Ancient Chinese medicine, when you activate those meridian points, whether it's through massage or light or whatever it is, energy medicine movements, whatever you're using, you are actually activating those things that need it most.
Is this on a sort of on a DNA level? I mean, does it get down to that to that level?
Yes. The answer is yes. It is on a DNA level. There are, it takes some practice. It's not something that you can just go get a light and start shining it on your body and figure it out. Although in all of my classes with my mentor, he's a mystic that wrote this protocol and wrote this whole philosophy. And when he took us through the classes, he would come up to me, and of course I would be doing something other than the protocol on the person. And he'd be going, and I was like, sorry, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And he's like, rebel. He said, whatever you're doing is what they need.
Oh, yeah.
So he would oftentimes use me as an example or pull me to the front of the room and ask me to envision something or see something or go through a protocol with him. And people were all, there were people in those classes that have been in classes with him for years. And they looked at me like, she's a newbie. What does she know? Because it wasn't what I know or was taught. It's what I know. It's what I remembered.
Yeah.
And that's what he kept telling me. All you're doing is remembering your ancient wisdom. And I was like, I got goosebumps with that one. But it's like all of a sudden it dawned on me that this is bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
This is bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the mentor and the student became equals.
I always say when I'm working on a client that I always state to the client that it's through me, not of me. And I state it to myself as well at the time, because, sometimes your ego does get involved. So stating that, it really does sort of calm that ego part of you and bring you back to that place where you understand that it's not you.
Yeah.
It's spirit, it's source, it's energy, it's vibration. It is all of us. That's what that person is made of and what I'm made of. So it's coming through me, that energy, and not of me. And I think that protects you too. That protects you as the practitioner too, because you're not depleting your energy trying to push everything into trying to help that person. I mean, yes,
I'm so glad you said that, because it was going to take me into this next thing to say and that is that what also started happening to me in those classes is that I started having a lot of physical things happen. Like I started having pains that I never had. I started feeling like I was going to pass out. I started feeling like I was really drawing on the energy of the collective. And with each person that I worked with, I would go from this one to this one and this one. I wasn't taking time to clear myself.
Mm-hmm.
And he took me to the side and he said, you are extremely open.
Mm.
And I thought, that's a great thing. Well, in a lot of respects, it is wonderful. Yes. But if you're in that collective energy with so many people who are guarded,
mm-hmm.
you're picking up the things they can't release.
Yeah.
So other people weren't feeling it the same way I was feeling it, just like I wasn't feeling it the way that some other people were like passing out and having to take a nap. And, I wasn't feeling it that way, but I call it buzzing. I was really buzzing. I could feel my body vibrating. And at one point I felt myself swaying and I'm like, okay, I look like a weirdo. I don't want to be the weirdo in the class. But it wasn't, that's when I realized the significance of energy. That's when I realized, I knew I was an empath, but what does that really mean? So when I started drawing on that and realizing that this is something I have to be, I wouldn't say cautious and I wouldn't say careful. This is something I have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of it can be used for good.
Mm-hmm. but it can also be used for bad.
Yes.
So responsibility is a big part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I also, through the process, was able to, and through the years, I've been able to learn how to discern their energy and mine. I've been able to learn how to, I don't want to say transmute, because that word bothers me for some reason, but it's more like, we talked about this the other day in a class, integration. The word integration can go so many different ways. So instead of integrating it, it's a matter of going inward and learning how to integrate the information around you. Does that make sense? It's like almost like a different way of looking at it. And making sure that the energy that's affecting me, I speak to spirit and ask, is this physical? Is this my physical ailment, or is this someone else's energy coming into my energy field? And if so, can you remove it? Can you help me with this and remove it? And then usually within minutes, it's gone. So that's how you know.
Yeah. There are so many workers out here who may not be aware that they are, that they pick up this extra energy in the I mean, we're all taught to do the cord cutting and things like that, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of practitioners out there who take on a lot of the stuff that their clients, release. And then, so then you're carrying it around, like you said, it starts to.
Well, and there's a lot of very powerful people who do this kind of work for good that end up not being able to do it anymore.
Right.
And the reason why they are not able to do it anymore is because they're not finding that balance of how to really, like I said, integrate. How do we integrate?
Yeah.
That's a big part of ascension too. I mean, that's going to be a big thing for all of us at some point. But how do we integrate? How do we take this new feeling of energy and make it a part of our mind and our body without it affecting us physically?
That's interesting. You said for the ascension, it's, like, I don't know, I was talking to somebody not recently about it. It may have been you, 2012, everything was supposed to change. We were all supposed to ascend. We were all supposed to get, we were all supposed to go to heaven or
whatever that
go
place
to hell.
is. Yeah, wherever it is.
Whatever it is.
At the end.
So, and you don't want to tell people that, that's our interpretation of what those places are like. When it's all here, the energy swirls around all the time, from this planet to that planet to, I don't want to say there's no heaven. I don't want to say there's no hell, because people really want to believe that. What would you say to someone who says that, I live my life this way so that I can go to heaven?
Okay, so I have many of those people in my family who feel that way. And the conversation has come up. I have a cousin who, of course, we're not saying names here, but
right.
I have a cousin who believes very strongly in that principle that, you do the good here so that you can go to the good place.
Right.
And if you don't do the good here, and if you do things that are out of the normal, then you don't go to that good place. And so I think there's a show about that. But anyway, so I have to believe there's probably a movie about it too.
No, it's a show called The Good Place.
Yeah, I thought that sounded familiar. So the way that spirit is showing me this, and this is what I want to share, again, through personal story with this cousin, is that, so when he tells me this, I say, okay, But what about this? But what about this? But what, and the more we talk, the more he goes, ooh, I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks and I go, okay, that's fine. But what about this? And then he goes, oh, I didn't think about that. So, and then I'm like, well, how do you explain, my husband still communicating with me?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I don't know. Are you sure that's really happening? I said, well, I've got proof of it in certain situations, but I mean, yeah. And he's like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, so when that conversation starts to open up, what we're doing is we're joining our conversation with love in our heart, because we're related. We love each other.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of us wants to be left behind.
Right.
So the more we do that, the more we ascend.
Mm-hmm.
And we ascend together, no matter what our beliefs are.
And that's because we start to vibrate higher.
Right. So when I think of ascension, I think of the fact that we're doing it every day in one way or another. Right here on the earth is doing it.
Yes.
The earth is taking care of it for us.
Definitely.
So those are things that I think that we have to stop and think about. Oh, well, what if it were different?
Mm. Yeah. So I grew up in in a family that was a Pentecostal family, and you know what that
Yeah,
it's all about.
Catholic.
It's like there's no getting around it. You're either going one place or the other. No, never mind. don't even think about trying to change my mind. So
right. I always go, what if this is hell? What if this is it? That could be better. Whatever it is.
And it's not so bad all the time.
Yeah. I have to agree with you though, but and when I think about different people's beliefs, because of course that's part of what we do spiritually, is we think about other people's beliefs. And when we think about other people's beliefs, I have to believe that whatever they think it is, that's ascension. One of the, so I'm in a book series called Common Sentience. And I've written paragraphs in 4 different books. One of the books that isn't going to be published, I think they put a hold on it for some reason, but the name of the book was Prayer. Oh. And when I first saw it, I thought, I don't know if I want to be in the prayer book, because I'm in guides and, Akashic and signs, and it's all these spiritual things. And then when I saw prayer, I was like, what do I have to contribute there? And I thought, oh my gosh, I have everything to contribute because everything I do is prayer.
Yes.
We use mantras. We have certain things we say before we go into a channeling session. We have things that it's all prayer, and it's all connecting to the divine. So when my mom goes to church virtually every Sunday, she sits in the living room and I hear her singing her hymns and all of that. And I'm like, that's great. And then I come in here and I'm doing my meditation stuff. And we just we live together. So we kind of just chuckle about it, because she's like, oh yeah, that's the meditation thing. And I'm like, and we're over there chanting, Mom, So, but there's a certain level of comfort that comes with that too, because that person is connected to the divine. Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful thing. So my mom, knowing that I'm not exactly doing it the way that she does it, I feel like she still feels like I'm connecting to things that are otherworldly, bigger, spiritual. The word spiritual has spirit in it, the Holy Spirit. I mean, so all of it and that's why I say, to me, all of that is part of the ascension. Mm-hmm. It's like nobody gets left behind in this. No. Everybody ascends, even if it's just a little. It's just a little bit. Yeah. You can get there. And you were saying that you contribute to books, but you have books of your own, yes? Not yet. Not yet. I'm in the process of starting the process. It's been very comfortable to just write a chapter and send it to somebody. Yes. So I'm kind of in the process of, like I said, really going out and doing my own thing. I've recently gotten a lot of guidance saying that I have a couple of publishing houses that I need to contact for myself particularly, and I am in the process of doing that. But I haven't branched out into it, I think because I never thought of myself as a writer.
Mm.
And I kept being told that I have this message and that I have this information that needs to get out. And so writing these couple of chapters felt comfortable. But I know that there's something bigger.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that when you do your automatic writing, do you find that there are chapters that come out of that
Yes.
process? And
yes,
you stick those to the side and you go, oh, okay, that's going to go in my book.
Yeah. So I have a lot of those. And so what I've done is when it pertains to something, or, there's a particular subject that we're writing about or whatever, they'll give you a prompt and say, okay, we're going to write about whatever this is. I usually just, it's going to sound very, not really divine. It's divinely led. It's not really planned. I just go into my database of writings, and it's the first one I pull up that I go, oh, that's perfect. That pertains. And then I send it off. So I know that all of this is being planned for me. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'll ever do the writing process the way people try to teach you to do the writing process. Like, I haven't signed up for any courses or anything to get me accountable. Another word that I hate, accountability. Because I don't feel like that's how it happens. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're all channels for something.
Right. I have, I had one big question that I had for you was something that's been on my mind lately is the water, our water situation on the planet. Because I've been hearing like bits and pieces. I don't watch the news necessarily. Mm-hmm. I sometimes scan the headlines, just to sort of see what's in the collective. But it just seems like, especially because I live in California, and that is a big deal. Water has been a big deal for California for such a long time. We had a lot of water recently, but it's still not enough.
Not the good water.
Not the good water. So do your guides have a message for us about how we can, about what might happen to us as a society when water becomes scarce? Or will water become scarce? Or, I don't want to scare people into, oh my God, water is going to go away. Because all of the water on the planet is all of the water that we have, right? When it rains, it doesn't mean that there's new water coming into the planet. It's just the water that we already
have. Everybody's happy again. Yeah.
It's the water that we already have. So do they have a message for us about water?
Yes. And so I'm going to try to decipher this without it being, like I said, like you said, scary. Because it's not about, and they're taking me to this that's sitting on my desk. So I have to share this first, and then I'll tell you more about it. So they're showing me this card I pulled about 3 weeks ago. I didn't know why it's been sitting here. It's the water spirit. And it's about manifesting dreams. But if you look at the water, you see the otter here.
Yeah.
And then back here, you see another one, and he's like mouth open, hands in prayer, trying to get the water. Okay.
Yes.
And so what they're showing me in this, and if you notice, it's all this lavender. Okay, here's where the colors start coming in. It's all this lavender and white light. Lavender and white light are the higher frequencies. So they're saying that just like the water comes in through the clouds, you said rain, really important. They're saying that, yes, water is going to be an issue. Water is an issue. Water is always going to be an issue. I'll start to talk very fast when this happens.
Okay.
Water is always going to be an issue for us on this planet. It's been an issue since the time of Lemuria when it sank.
Okay.
It's been an issue with water since the Atlanteans, the Palladians. They've all dealt with water. Whether they've lived in the water or lived on the earth, it hasn't mattered. It's still a fight for the water. Now, they don't want to say fight in terms of war. They don't want that to be used. They're saying that they want water to be thought of as part of what we're made of. They want water to be thought of as something sacred. That's why they call it holy water. They say that that was created by the ancients, the term holy water, because we should be blessing the water more. So they're saying we should bless our waters around us. As a collective, we should come together. Oh, this is really big stuff here. As a collective, we should come together and bless our waters. Okay. They're saying that there's simple things we can do to change the water. You know, people are doing that, where they change the water. What is it? The molecular structure of the water.
The triple
osmosis and all those different kinds of things. They have little machines you can do it with. Mm-hmm. And they're saying that those are going to become more and more popular because that's the way we're going to really rejuvenate our water. So it needs to be taken on a bigger scale. I don't know if it's, what's his name? The Tesla guy. Oh, God, I don't know politics. I'm not even going to get into politics.
Elon Musk.
I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's somebody like that. But somebody like that brilliant mind that knows how to convert things is going to learn how to convert this. And they're going to be able to catch the water. So they're saying that they chuckle when you say that about the rain isn't going to fill up the, dams. We chuckled about that a minute ago, but what they're saying is that, yes, it can. And that water that's coming through in storms, in mudslides, in hurricanes. I have lots of hurricanes. I'm in Florida. The hurricanes, all of these things, it's happening, the melting of the ice, it's all happening to provide us with more water. So while we sit back and say, oh my gosh, there was a flood. Oh my gosh, so many people perished. Oh my gosh, whatever it was. These are all horrible, horrible, horrible tragedies that happen to the people who love those people. But at the same time, it's Earth's way of saying, it's Gaia's way of saying that this is important. Okay. Pay attention to the water. So I don't know if you noticed, but on this card that I showed you where it said water spirit, it says manifesting dreams. So the more we learn as a collective to manifest for the planet, the more we learn how to manifest our dreams as well. It's like they go hand in hand. We are not solopreneurs. We are not entrepreneurs. We are earthpreneurs. We are here for the earth. We are here for each other. And what the message they want to get through so strongly today, and we've talked about it a little bit, is that love is the key. And the more we show that to the earth, the more we show that to each other, the more we bring that in whatever way you want to. They're showing me like it looks like the 70s, like where they're all laying around, everybody loves everybody. That's what they're saying. They're saying there's nothing wrong with that. It went a little haywire, but they're saying there's nothing wrong with it. It's that type of existence that we should be living in. It's that type of euphoria that we should be looking towards. And they're saying that that's not necessarily, how we ascend. It's happening now. It has to happen now.
And can we do it? Can we get together?
So they say yes.
Oh, they say yes. Okay. So yeah.
They say yes. They say yes, we can. They say, so the number on that card is 46. So when you put 4 and 6 together and you get 10,
it's 10, and that's completion. Yeah.
It's the step right before mastery.
That is amazing.
And they're showing it to me in gold.
Gold.
They've been bringing me gold a lot, like liquid gold, something with gold. So I don't know if this thing that's going to be created that helps us with our water has something to do with gold. They're saying it's a mineral that was very valuable so many years ago, and it's gone kind of down.
Gold.
But the gold is going to come back. It's going to be a key to enriching. They just are showing it to me like enriching the earth. Taking all the gold out of the earth back in the gold rush days was a problem.
Yeah. Yes.
It depleted things. It depleted the earth, and it's just taken this long for that to show.
Well, how can
they're giving me some ancient history?
Though? How can we, after they've taken it all out, how do we get it back?
So they're saying that it can't be done individually. It has to be the collective again. They're saying it can be done with intention.
Okay.
They're saying it can be done with intention. But they're also saying that I don't know who this person's coming. This person who's coming is going to do something with gold and create something that is able to turn the water supplies into something that we can use more readily.
Oh, like a desalination kind of thing from the oceans or something like that?
Maybe.
Okay.
So, the ego's coming in and my scientific mind's going, I don't know what that means. Like I'm trying to figure it out. But I don't think it's intended for me to. And so what Spirit's saying is just put it to the side, Jennifer. This is not your job.
Okay.
So it's not something for me to worry about. But they're also saying that something about the rocks.
Rocks.
Okay, so they're showing me crystals. You know how everybody's into this crystal fleck? What is it called? Those crystals that have the gold in it?
Oh, the Go Flex, yeah. I don't know what those
I don't
are.
know much about crystals, but my friends do. And when we had our retreat in Shasta, they were all about this.
The rocks that are like geodes that you break open,
yes.
And they're like geodes.
Yeah.
I was just talking to someone about that, that they were in Namibia. And they were saying that all of these rocks had geodes in them, and you just
those are going to need to be placed in certain locations geographically. Some scientist is going to know what to do with this, not me. I'm not taking responsibility for this either. I'm traveling around the world. But somebody's going to take responsibility for this, and somebody's going to figure out where these things need to be placed.
Like on the energy grid.
Like on the energy grid. Okay. Yeah, it's a bigger thing than it's like a matrix. They're showing me like a whole matrix.
Wow.
It's like this energetic, electrical, it looks like, a power plant, like a major power plant.
Wow.
And in it is going to be this substance, this mineral. Well, gold is the mineral, but it's going to be combined with some sort of substance that makes it very scientific.
That sounds amazing. I know that they're doing research on asteroids, because asteroids have minerals, platinum and I guess gold, silver or gold. I don't know, but maybe that's one of the things that they're going to start mining from the asteroid to bring back down to our planet. Hopefully the greedy people won't try to take it before.
So I'm seeing that there's going to be a lot of competition around it. They're showing me the word competition. They're saying, there's going to be a lot of competition around it. They're also saying that this is going to be, light years into the future. This isn't something that's going to happen right away. And they just keep saying it's for the sake of the planet. So years ago, I wrote about Lab Earth. And Lab Earth is just that's what that's what our higher ancestral beings call this planet, because they're studying us in that way. but they're going to be sending us the information we need.
Okay.
So they're like going, it's protected. It's okay. It's all going to be okay. No reason to panic. No reason to run for the hills.
Okay. That wouldn't help you anyway, right?
No. And they're saying that what they're doing now is that as people have to move to other areas, it's okay because those areas need healing.
Oh, I see.
So as people move away from those areas to go closer to other areas that have what they need, like right now, Florida's got this influx of people trying to move here. That's okay because it's going to balance the other areas and then people can move back.
Okay.
So it's a matter of being able to fix the areas that need fixing. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Which, I mean, and then talk about water, which leads me automatically into our food supply, which I'm sorry about it.
Your dogs are thinking about the food supply too.
I know. So the food supply, is it because I heard long time ago, I read this article in a magazine about this blind mystic who was saying that people would start to sort of migrate to the Great Lakes areas because that's where the water will be. But he also said that people would start to become more independent and less dependent on the government for their food, all of that stuff. They'll be
this is farmers.
Farmers, even just regular people will start growing. Well, he said start growing their own food and that kind of thing so that they won't, because the prices would be so high. Do you see that happening?
Yeah. And I think that's happening more and more. I mean, I see it happening in my own family. My children, or my daughter particularly, is talking more about, I want to raise rabbits. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like I want to have, she has tomato plants and, like she's there. So what they're doing is, and this is what Spirit's coming in with on the food. They're saying that it's really, really important for us to learn how to take care of ourselves. And by taking care of ourselves, they mean feed ourselves. That's how it was in the old days. It's not like that anymore. We get in a car and we drive to the grocery store. That's fine and dandy, but you're going to keep on paying the high prices.
Right.
Because it's, again, this is all we're going to say it started with the pandemic. I hate saying that, but it's true. Because people were not working, people were not able to get out there, people were not doing what they need. The grocers were struggling. Everybody was struggling. So yeah, it started with that, and it's going to be a little cycle to get out of. But what it boils down to is that people want to eat the earth. I don't know how else to say it. People want plant-based products. They want to eat clean. They want to eat healthy. They want to eat raw. There's a reason for that. It's not only because of the grocery store, it's because it's what's best for us. So what they're saying is we need to learn to take care of ourselves. And that is the independence that you say is coming up. And that's very, very true. They're also saying that we need to do it in community. Yeah. So as independent, and I'm getting really strong chills on this, as we're doing this independently, we are also migrating to places where we can live more in community, where we can help each other with the resources.
That's beautiful.
So whether it means I live with my mom and my sister, or, people are buying homes. I was with a cousin who's 4 children, ages 25 to 19. They're all buying a house together. I was like, what? Wow. Like, you never heard of that in the past, but it makes perfect sense. They want a piece of property. They want to build, they want to have their own foods. They want to, perfect. Live with your brother and your sister. So we need to do this in community in order to really draw on each other's resources. Because one person may be really good at farming and the other person may be really good at taking care of the kids. Somebody's got to watch the kids while the other person's doing the farming. And sometimes that's hard to do in a couple. So that's things like that, or moving to neighborhoods where people are of the like mind. So they're all coming together to have those resources for the community.
That sounds amazing.
What's going to happen with that is we're going to go to the old way of living, and we're going to start to really take care of each other. And there again, What is the key of that? Love. We're back to the love.
Back to the love.
I like to call one of the things that I like to say is that instead of living a lifestyle, think about living a love style.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I love that. That should be the name of your book.
Well, I'm thinking on that one.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you. It's out of the bag. Now I got to write it.
So get to work.
I love that. I love it. I love how that works. But it's true that for me, that's like the basis of everything we do. We think about a lifestyle, what kind of job are we going to have? What kind of house are we going to have? What kind of car are we going to have? Those are all lifestyle things.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of it from this, really what makes your heart sing and what makes others feel good, then you're living the lifestyle.
That's beautiful.
And that can only be termed a lifestyle because that's what it is. It's basic.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been doing this for over an hour. I just feel like I'm just starting to touch, the tip of the iceberg here. Will you come back? Will you come
Absolutely.
back and talk?
Absolutely.
Talk about stuff. I because there's so many things that I personally, have questions about as far as the earth is concerned, about trees and, and plants and is our hydroponics, as good for us as, growing in the dirt, which is better. Right. I don't know.
Right.
I would like to try both, but I don't, I would love to get your guides.
Absolutely. We can do this often.
So, thank you so much. Please let people know how to reach you. And, if you take on new clients or
I do. And the best way to reach me is through the email on the screen. So it's jennyS@allowandflow.com. That's my business email. I also have a website that's www.allowandflow.com. I share that with my partner. And so there's a way that you can go to the About section and just click on my name and you can get in touch with me.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Tony. I've really enjoyed this.
Me too. I just enjoy and your laughter is contagious, by the way.
Oh, so is yours. I love it. We can just laugh together.
Yes, it's so healing, and so I love it. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. And we'll, if you really love Jennifer like I do, I'm going to have her back as much as we can. So if you're interested and you have questions for Jennifer, maybe put some down in the in the comment section underneath this video, and the next time she comes on, we can address some of those questions. So give us a thumbs up, hit that bell when you want to be reminded when we do another video, and we will see you soon. So walk in beauty, walk in joy, and walk in peace, and walk in love. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.